is also on her speech at 7. Renee has chosen to tell us and give us an introduction to Asperger syndrome. So Renee has been doing a great deal of research work on it, and I'll put some pictures.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests, by a show of hands, how many of you have met people who seem rude, self-absorbed, intent on sharing all their knowledge about a particular subject with you, unsympathetic?
Yesterday.
Essentially, all of us. And we generally do not like interactions with people of that sort. They are not enjoyable. But what if you realized that a person was manifesting those behaviors because of a disorder he or she had? Would that change things? According to the website Asperger's Syndrome.wmv, the common symptoms of Asperger syndrome are having a problem socializing, difficulty in communicating, repetitive interest or behavior, disliking any changes in routine, and appearing to lack empathy. Asperger syndrome is a hidden disorder, which means it is not easily identifiable or recognizable outwardly. I would like to introduce you to Asperger syndrome tonight because the knowledge can have a far-reaching effect both on your life and that of others around you. The Asperger Syndrome Foundation, which is a registered charity in London, defines Asperger's as a pervasive developmental disorder that falls within the autistic spectrum. Most people with autism really cannot function in normal human society, or at the very least, they have an incredibly challenging time of doing so. But people with Asperger's generally have normal or definitely above normal intelligence, and they actually pursue and cultivate, or try to cultivate, social skills, social interactions with other people. So what does that mean for you and I? Well, when failure to manifest what we consider to be acceptable social skills are not within the control of another person, that really does change the picture. It changes our interaction with them. Again, according to the Asperger Syndrome Foundation, Asperger's is a lifelong condition. It's more common in men than women, and it affects about 1 in 200 people. Think about that, 1 in 200. Essentially, every single one of us in this room knows at least one person with Asperger's, and that statistic does not take into consideration the people who have not officially been diagnosed. When I was doing my research for the speech, I was surprised at the wide plethora of resources that offer information about Asperger's. They range from medical websites to doctors who specialize in autism and Asperger's care to parents who have children and they're struggling to cope with that reality. And there are also much wider mainstream resources, if you will, Wikipedia, the BBC, and Wired magazine, interestingly enough. Wired magazine is a monthly publication that focuses on technology. In December 2001, they published an article entitled The Geek Syndrome. And what it was about was Asperger's and the prevalence of that syndrome amongst those who are technically gifted, or technologically gifted. They gave a specific example of a boy named Nick, who at 11 years of age is building a universe, a comprehensive universe on his computer. A very intelligent 11-year-old. But as a result of having Asperger's, the article states, he's infatuated with fantasy novels, but he has a hard time reading people. He's clearly bright and imaginative, but he has no friends his own age. His inability to pick up on hidden agendas makes him easy prey to certain cruelties, as when some kids paid him a few dollars to wear a ridiculous outfit to school. It's very easy to mislabel behaviors like that. Think about it. If you were Nick's parent and you did not know he had the syndrome, what things could you find yourself saying to him? If you were one of his schoolmates and you thought of him as just that really smart, weird kid, how easy would it be to pick on him and the things that you could come up with to say about him? Imagine how many challenges and difficulties Nick already has and will undoubtedly continue to have throughout his life as he operates at a high level of intelligence, but seems to be just a bit off in social skills. I'd like to consider another example. Many of you are probably familiar with a Scottish man named Gary McKinnon, who has been in the media for a number of years now, accused of hacking into dozens of U.S. military computers over the period of about a year from 2001 to 2002. In May of this year, the BBC printed a very interesting article about a different aspect of his case. They explained how Gary's mother is fighting to keep her son from being extradited from Britain to stand trial. While not directly addressing his guilt in terms of the crimes of which he is accused, she says that the process of being extradited to the U.S., just the process, is punishment enough for Gary because he has Asperger syndrome. He worries about catching a bus, hates to leave home, and wouldn't dream of traveling abroad, but now he faces being sent across the Atlantic to stand trial. His mother thinks it would do irreparable mental harm to him because of his condition. If you were his mother, how would you feel? And what would you do? There are numerous examples of famous personalities who are believed to have or have had Asperger's. Bill Gates, Michael Palin, Alfred Hitchcock, Isaac Newton, and the list goes on. Specifically in reference to Bill Gates, the article in Wired magazine said, Bill Gates is regularly diagnosed in the press. His single-minded focus on technical minutia, his rocking emotions, and flat tone of voice are all suggestive of an adult with some trace of the disorder. Do you work with someone like Bill? Or do you work with somebody who is a bit off in what they do? Dr. Tony Atwood, a British psychologist who has written several publications on Asperger, states, the disorder can also include motor clumsiness and problems with handwriting, and being hypersensitive to specific auditory and tactile experiences. There can also be problems with organizational and time management skills, and explaining thoughts and ideas using speech. That would definitely impact a person's work performance and impact and have an effect on those who work with them. What if you interact with somebody like that at work? But what if you realized they had a disorder that they could not control that was responsible for that behavior? It does make a difference. My speech tonight is, again, merely an introduction to Asperger's. There are so many issues of the topic that I have not even touched on. But my main point in bringing it up is to serve as a reminder. The next time you find yourself feeling irritated because of somebody's perceived unacceptable social behavior, remember that it may be beyond their control. And if you keep that in mind, perhaps you'll choose to give them the benefit of the doubt. And by doing so, you will certainly increase your own inner sense of peace, but you will also contribute to ongoing harmonious relations with other people.